Welcome back. It's time for the big issue on TV3Newday. And of course, my guests are seated. Today, we'll be discussing NABCO. In fact, this entire week, we've been putting the spotlight on NABCO beneficiaries and the fact that the president indicated that at the end of October, NABCO would officially come to an end after 3 years of running the policy. And so we got to interact with a number of these beneficiaries who stated, some stated they were confused because they didn't know the way forward, especially because before the end of 2020, before the 2020 elections, they were promised some permanent jobs. And so they're asking questions now that if you promised us permanent jobs, we voted you back into power, and now you're telling us that NABCO has ended. What is the way forward for us? Now, the president indicated that some 73,844 NABCO beneficiaries out of the 92,000 trainees who took part in the career pathway transition process will be placed by the end of the period. Now, we're also told that some financial clearance had been given for some 11,840 NABCO beneficiaries to be recruited into the public sector. So the security agencies, the MMDAs, and a number of other institutions as well. However, these NABCO beneficiaries are saying that for the number of people, in fact, the president indicated that some 49,000 of them earlier had also either gone into entrepreneurship or had gotten permanent jobs. Now, these NABCO beneficiaries are saying that for most of them who even got the jobs, they found the jobs themselves. And it was not as a result of any help from, NABCO or whatever the situation is. So we're asking questions about this, and we're asking what is the way forward, because unemployment is on the rise. The World Bank has indicated that at the moment, unemployment is about 4.53, 4.6 thereabouts. And we're told it will hit 5% before the end of the year. Now, yesterday, we got hold of a letter that was sent to the NABCO beneficiaries, and I'll read them. But quickly, let me introduce my guest in the studios. I have Kamal Dean. He's the Deputy National Coordinator or Director for Communications at the NPP. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right. And also, I have Osman Ayariga. He's a communications member of the NDC. Good morning, Osman.
Good morning.
I hope you're well.
I'm doing well.
All right. So now let me read the statement. It is on the screen at the moment, but I'll also read it from here. And it says that, dear CPTP trainee, and by the way, CPTP trainee, that's supposed to mean the people who signed on to the transition process for NABCO. It says that we're currently processing your stipends for September and October 2021 based on the defined period of 3 years, that is 36 months of engagement on NABCO. This will be the final stipends paid to you. In line with your exit arrangements, you will now be given an opportunity to join the exit preparation talent pool pending future job and training opportunities. However, where your MIP has decided to go into an arrangement with you that would be independent of NABCO, it will be independent of NABCO and solely between you and the MIP. Please note that while you can access training and other mentoring opportunities during this period, you will not be entitled to any further stipends during your time on the talent pool. As you want to be hired, you are at liberty to opt out of this at will by utilizing the decline procedure on your portal. We value and appreciate your growth while on the scheme, and we will encourage you to take advantage of the skills and experience acquired in your future career pursuit. Our best wishes to you for the future. And it was signed by the NABCO Secretariat. And so this is the latest update on the NABCO situation. And these young people are saying that, well, we're still going to work because we weren't sure whether to stop or not. We've been depending on this 700 Ghana cedis or 695 Ghana cedis. We've been depending on that for the last 3 years. If you're asking us to go back home after 3 years of training, what happens to that training that you have provided us? We'll try and reach the young man who on Monday indicated that he was confused. There was another who also said he was still going to work. But come on, I'm coming to you. I mean, concerns have been raised by these beneficiaries, and they're saying that you promised us permanent jobs before 2020 elections. We voted you back into power, and now you're telling us that it's ended, and so we should go home.
Thank you so much. Once again, good morning to you, good morning to your viewers, and good morning to Osman, my colleague here.
Okay, come on, I'll just let you hold on. Sorry about that. Let me just speak to this young man that we spoke to earlier on the show to tell us, because he received this letter last night and forwarded it to us. Good morning, how are you doing? Hello?
Hello, I'm good.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. So you received this letter when? Last night?
Yeah, last night.
Okay. And you are the same person who said that you were still going to work even though you didn't know what the situation was and whether you'd be paid, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, receiving this letter, how are you feeling?
I really didn't know what to do. That's why I called Danny to forward it to him.
Okay.
For you to address it on the show. For now, the trauma and then everything.
You're traumatized.
Yes. Yes.
But you knew from the beginning that this was a 3-year training process, right?
Yeah, we knew. 3 years.
Okay. So if you've received this letter now that indicates that it's ended and you have to go home, and if you decide to go ahead and still work, that should be a separate arrangement between you and the institution that you work with. Why are you saying you're traumatized?
As I said earlier on, the president gave us promises that he will absorb us into the system. So as of now that we are receiving this letter, we don't really know what to say again, because previously some of the coordinators were saying you should be at post, but then now that we are receiving this letter, I don't really know.
What's the general feeling? Because you're not the only one who's received this, I believe.
Yes, almost everyone.
What are they saying?
It's a really shock. It's the greatest shock of my time, really.
So what are you going to do today? Would you still go to the pharmacy or would you stay home?
I just don't know what to do. But I'll actually pass by again.
You'll still go to the pharmacy?
Yeah.
But they are not going to pay you if you decide to go ahead and work.
I'll eventually give up along the line too. For now, I'll just be giving a helping hand.
Well, at least they say they are working on paying you the 2 months arrears, and so I believe that you're looking forward to that, right?
Okay.
Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you for speaking to us. And so that's his one Napconian. He said he was still going to work, but now that he's received the letter, he doesn't know what to do.
Okay, so they are referred to as Napconians.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah. That's the latest name that I discovered
According
this
to
week.
Bella?
No. So that's what they call themselves.
Napconians. That's a good one. Anyway, once again, good morning to you. Good morning to your cherished viewers, and good morning to Usman as well. Bella is interesting that this is on the banner for us to discuss. Prior to you asking me to contribute, you did mention, I don't know if it was on air, that you have, of course on air, that you have been following this NABCO story for some time now. Questions that comes to mind: how well have you engaged the NABCO National Secretariat? How well have you been able to get data from them as media practitioners? That yes, the program commenced somewhere on the 1st of May 2018. We are now almost at the fin of the program. What has been the progress? How many people benefited? How many people along the way? Because there was an indication earlier that yes, if you are a beneficiary of NABCO, chances are that you're going to be trained on the job that you are, or the model that you are put on. Then of course, along the way, if you are lucky, then you apply for a job somewhere and you are exiting. Of course, the training you would have gathered for yourself and the training you would have had for yourself will help you fare well in your new job. So there was this arrangement of, if you like, beneficiaries not just being static at NABCO, but was flexible. That if, for example, Bella is a graduate who has actually been absorbed by NABCO, Bella is being trained in a particular institution, okay? It's kind of an intern that you have been given. Now, in the course of that, say that institution or another institution says, like, look, Bella has applied and that Bella is going to be employed by us fully. Bella moves and maybe somebody comes to step in, as it were. So that arrangement states, and I ask a question that the National Secretariat, whether your entity here, as media practitioners, you have engaged them to get the statistics that how many benefited, how many along the way exited because they have had other jobs.
They have refused to pick our calls. We've been calling them.
So you've not consulted them?
We've been calling them all week to respond to these concerns. They have refused our calls. They kept telling us, we'll get back to you. But none of them has even responded to say that these are your concerns and we're addressing them. No one. And we have proof of text messages that we received from the head of the Secretariat.
A step further to that. Calling is a good way to contact. I also say that, look, an institution is put in place. For example, the National Secretariat of NABCO is sitting there. If I were a journalist who is supposed to do this work, and I feel very imperative to myself, nothing stops me from carrying my cameras, walking to the area and say, look.
Nothing stops the secretariat from
I'm
also
not
responding. We've been talking about this all week. If they were concerned about these young people and the questions that these young people have been posing, they should have come out to respond. But nobody has responded to that. And
Bella,
so why are you heaping the blame on the
Bella,
media?
I have not
We are doing
blamed
our part. Why is the secretariat also not responding to these questions? And young people are saying they are confused. Nobody has really communicated to them. In fact, this entire week, they said they had not received any official response from, the secretariat until this letter came out last night.
I am not in any way blaming you. I am only saying that journalism comes with fact-checking. Journalism comes with going the extra mile to ensure that you gather the data, which of course is very important to all of us, for us as people who are going to listen to you. Now, I'm not saying that you haven't done your job. You've called, you've tried to speak to you. And I'm only adding that, yes, going further to that, me as a media practitioner, wherever I would have to go to do what we call observational reporting, I will do that.
You are here. Can you give us the details?
I'm saying I would have done that.
Can you give us a detail? But at least I'm asking you. I mean, you see, that's the thing.
I will do my best to tell you what.
A number of you were not working at the secretariat, but when it came to promoting the agenda of NABCO and singing the song that 100,000 people were going to benefit from NABCO, blah, 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 all of you sang along.
Bella.
But when it comes to responding to these concerns by young people, you're telling me that you're not working at NABCO.
No, don't take me out of context. I have not said that I'm not prepared to speak to NABCO. No, that's not what I've said.
No, you just said that you don't work at the secretariat.
Bella, we ended up not having a discussion.
No, go ahead. I'm just saying that that's what you said.
You're asking questions with all respect, which are not even helpful to discuss. I'm only saying that I'm just prefacing my submission by saying that, look, first of all, data gathering on this particular NABCO matter is important, which I said that, look, at least as an entity that, of course, pushes for media work to be done, that entity has the duty to ensure that you walk or you move towards NABCO Secretariat and get the details. One, nonetheless, I'm not saying I won't speak to the matter. First, the initiative was a good one. You just mentioned that we're singing praises and we're talking about NABCO and all that. Yes, nobody can take it away, okay, that the initiative to engage close to 100,000 youths who hitherto had nothing to do, who would be able to have access to training, better their lots in terms of knowledge, and of course get some, if you like, some little amount of money to cushion them, who hitherto would have been home. Then an initiative of this nature is created. Nobody can say somewhere to say that it's not a good one. Nobody. Unless the person just wants to be unnecessarily mischievous. But for a government to think out of the box, to say that, look, we have numbers of people who, of course, are unemployed, who are graduates. Can we find a model put in place to train them for 3 years? Then in the course of that, some of them who will have had their job will move on with their lives and go on. That's why I said, look, it is important that we get a national secretariat, get statistics put in place. This letter that you just read, that somebody sent it to you, again, I cannot sit here to authenticate what you have just put out there until, like I asked a question, until the secretariat says, yes, indeed, we have done X, Y, Z, we sent out this letter. It is the word of the gentleman you have called, okay, and maybe...
So you are saying that this could not...
No, I have not said it's not authentic, but of course, why? You have to do fact checking. I've not said it's not authentic. I just gave you a bounce before me is a letter. That a letter is purported to have been written by National Secretariat of NABCO to one beneficiary who is being informed that the 36 months of whatever his engagement is ending. Okay. And that 2 months will be paid. That's what you just said. Okay. I cannot sit here to say, but if you had told me that, look, this is a letter that we have intercepted from the NABCO Secretariat, that one I will say, yes, indeed, I will not question your source, and I will speak to it. But to say that the gentleman who brought you a letter, you have called that person, is a beneficiary, for me, it's quite okay. With all respect, it's quite low in terms of journalism to me. It's a bit low.
Let's take a look at a video that Mr. Awal, the PRO of the YEA, mentioned. He was also quoting the PRO of NABCO, and he gave us statistics as to how many people had received permanent employment out of NABCO. Take a look.
For NABCO, and this is what he has sent me. 3 exit schemes are available for the trainees. Entrepreneurship, further learning, and permanency.
All right.
The trainees were asked to choose from these 3 options. They did so. We are in the process of exiting them on the exit schemes they chose. Then he said, currently we have about 60,000 on the scheme. About 38,000 have been exited into permanent jobs. This is Tahiru. 38,000 have been exited into permanent jobs.
Permanent jobs.
Yes, this is Tahiru.
Did he add the sectors?
No, he didn't. But I'm sure maybe when you have him here one day, he will be able to break down and tell you.
So it's 38,000.
38,000 that have been.
Now, respond to the question of the youth bulge, national security implications. NSS guys are finished now with their service to the nation.
This is a more authentic source for you?
What? It's not. I'm not. Is it Bella? You're trying to pitch me against the people watching us.
I'm not.
What I'm saying is that at least the principles are clear. And the principles are that establish what is the veracity of same, and then, of course, bring it out to us. And I'm saying that, look, just this morning, you have read a letter. Of course, I'm not in a position to say it's authentic or not authentic, but the source has been described, that a gentleman who is supposed to have been the owner, the source, is the one you even spoke to. And I'm saying that, indeed, I don't know, sitting here, whether or not the person is indeed a beneficiary, whether or not the letter is coming from that person. But be that as it may, it is not out of place for us to say that NABCO is going to end in 36 months. That is clear. Even in the beginning, we all told that by 36 months, the 3 years period would have ended. And when it ends, of course, the program ends. That was clearly communicated. Again, I have mentioned that beneficiaries who are lucky in the course of time or in the course of their training or course of engagement could also be absorbed into the mainstream, as it were. And like I said here, I believe that there is a data that points to how many people have been able to go on NABCO and from NABCO have migrated into mainstream jobs. That, of course, will also exist. Again, by the end of 36 months, we will have people, again, who have served all the 36 months, but then are not lucky to be absorbed in them. Now, by the beginning of your question, you did mention that we promised them that they were all going to be what? Absorbed.
Did you promise them?
That's not true.
You didn't promise them before the 2020 elections.
That is not true. And I'm repeating this again. Nobody said in our government that all NABCO beneficiaries would be employed after 2020. That was not what we said. And I'm saying this again. So you see, some of these things, if we don't correct it, we send out there, poison the atmosphere, and then say certain things that are not there. Look, I feel and I share in the plight of the young ones. Unemployment is quite a problem, a huge problem. And we need to find a way of fashioning out a strategy that will get the youth of this country employed. You see, we tend to do so much politics with it. NDC will come and tell you I will create jobs, MPP will come and tell you I will create jobs. Yet when we all come, we're found wanting at a point. I want to say that the youth of this country deserve better for all of us. Whatever who you are, whether you are MPP or NDC, let us try to consciously try our best to get this youth of this country who are unemployed getting something to do.
So someone else has called. He's also a NABCO beneficiary, and he says that this letter was sent onto their portal. So it's officially from the Secretariat. We'll speak to him on the line. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, okay, good morning.
All right, so which model were you on, by the way?
Educate Ghana, please.
Educate Ghana. Now, this letter that we've just read, you're saying that it was officially sent to your portals? Tell me about it.
Yes, it was officially sent into our portal. And before anyone can access it, you must be a NABCO personnel who has a portal with NABCO. So they're sent through our portal and we receive this night.
Okay. And for you, I mean, how do you feel about this letter that has been released?
So heartbroken. I don't know what to do. I'm not.
No, but that's the thing. I mean, from the beginning, we were told that this is a 3-year training program. And so after the 3 years, it will end. So when you say you're heartbroken, that's what I need to understand. Why so? Were you not expecting this?
We were also assured that we were given a permanent job.
Who promised you? Who promised you that permanent job?
The president.
The president promised you the permanent job?
Yes, we were promised to be given a permanent job.
The promise was given by the president himself. When?
The career pathway we showed, we were given 3 models. One has to do with permanent job. And almost all of us saw the part of permanent job with the government sector. So indeed, they were not going to take us in the permanent sector. Then why should there be a sector of permanent job in the career pathway filling? So
Okay. Do you know how many of you have gotten the permanent job after filling that form, by the way? Do you know how many of you?
No.
Okay.
No,
All right. Thank you so much. So the president on his Bono regional tour also gave some figures. That was on the 11th of August, 2021. And that is where he indicated that some 49,000 of them had received some permanent job or gone into entrepreneurship. Let's take a look at that, and I'll introduce my next guest so he can also speak on this.
Various modules by Digitize Ghana, Civic Ghana, Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the security services, etc. So that program will be on, and by October we'll see a significant deployment of most of them, but not all, because not all the people have responded. And so far, one year I responded to questionnaire as to where you want to go. 72 out of the 90-something thousand. Ordinarily, the people who are being the focus of the program, because we want to be able to do another program at the end of October when we start, when it comes again, to be able to absorb more and more and more people. So there is a big plan and a big program being uplaid whereby that deployment will take place.
And that's the president speaking on this particular issue. Let me bring Osman in so he can speak on this matter. Osman, I remember that also before the 2020 elections, the NDC had also promised that if they should win, they would make all NABCO beneficiaries permanent. I remember that very well. That was from the communications director of the NDC. No, I wasn't.
You have a proof?
You all made statements. No. Hold on. Let me speak to Osman, please. So now that we've gotten to this point, of course, you didn't get into power, but these NABCOnians are saying that we were promised some permanent jobs, and now we're being told to go home, and we'll only be paid the 2 months arrears, and that's it.
Bella, good morning to you, and good morning to my big brother, Kamal. But let me just use a few seconds of your time to thank the good people of Boko for coming out last week to commiserate with us. We were in Boko to have our funeral and to bury our mother. So there were difficult times too, but it's okay. So we just want to thank God for that and move on. Now, first and foremost, with the issue of NABCO and the MPP, even before the 2020 elections, we made it clear that NABCO was just used as an election winning tool, as a tool to buy votes for the MPP in order for them to win the next election. Now, even before we go into the details of NABCO, let's just talk about unemployment and its issues so far as Ghana is concerned. Now, national security in itself has told us that the unemployment is becoming a serious bad, and if you are not careful, it will soon implode in our faces. Baumia, His Excellency, at the just ended digitization lecture, so the fact that the MPP is the government that has created more employment in the Fourth Republic. And I want to put it to my brother that is total falsehood. And even if you decide to look at even the public sector, if you look at from 2009, when the NDC took over from His Excellency Kufuor, the public sector wage was about 404,000 employees. You understand? And that's coming from the 2008 mid-year budget review. Now, from 2009, which was the time of Atta Mills, to 2012, it rose to 515,000 workers. That's the public sector. You can check it out. That was also captured in the 2012 mid-year budget review. And that was an increment of 111,000 people, so far as public sector is concerned. Now, from 2012 to 2016, it also rose again to 628,000 public sector workers. And that was an increment of 112,000 workers. That was captured in the 2016 budget. Now, from 2016, when the MPP came to power, to 2020, it only rose to 712,000 workers. And that was an increment of 83,000, not even up to 100,000. So if you can tell us that your government has, employed more people in the last Fourth Republic, that is total falsehood. And this is just the public sector that we all can check so far as I'm coming to that. So far as employment is concerned, because the more you employ via the public sector, it also reduces the unemployment issues. You understand? Now, even at the private sector, where the NPP made so much noise that they're going to stimulate the private sector and to make sure the private sector employs more people, even under the NDC, that's from 2009 2015. If you check at SNIT, a total of 364,000 people were registered just for SNIT. And that's also a way of checking for private sector, not taking out the main public sector, just for private sector. And 19,000 new businesses were registered under SNIT. This is an economy that was geared towards trying to reduce unemployment and so far as the youth is concerned. Now, we did tell the MPP that this NABCO business, yes, it was good. It was a way to reduce the unemployment rate. But one, it wasn't backed by law. It wasn't backed by any legislation. And NABCO didn't have a clear-cut direction. It was some sort of reactionary plan from the MPP. Let's just do something to try and reduce the unemployment issue so far as vote is concerned. How do you say they didn't have a clear-cut direction? I mean, they were clear. No, you see, was it sustainable? Was it sustainable?
They said
they just came to tell us they're going to provide training. Just training is not enough. You understand? And that's why the NDC, when we started our campaign in 2020, we said that as part of the 10 billion push, NABCO was going to be factored in there to create sustainable jobs for the youth. And
how are you going to do that?
Well, we are going to use the 10 billion push to try as much as possible to make sure that the youth who were employed under NABCO were created enough private businesses. We are going to use the 10 billion push to create employment for the youth through private enterprise, business creation, and what have you. And that was a comprehensive plan we had for the youth, and so far as NABCO was concerned. But, I mean, Kamal himself knows that the entire NABCO plan, there was no future plan for them. It was just to make sure that they cross the next election, then they'll find a way to.
They introduced the career pathway transition process, and that was supposed to give them that opportunity, like the young man said, to choose whether they wanted permanency or any other thing, go back to school and all of that. So they chose according to what they wanted. If you say they didn't have a plan, was that not an exit plan for them?
No, you see, you just don't take a man in training for 3 years and drop him. You understand? You either creating a sustainable employment, or you create an avenue for him to be able to create business or to be able to do his private business. I thought by this time the MPP and Kamal and Baumia by this time will be telling us how the economy has been evolved for them to be able to create private sector businesses for themselves and how private people have been able to create more businesses. But you and I know that as we sit today, the economy is not in a good state for everyone to even create private business. Even this morning, fuel prices have gone up. And you know, fuel prices have gone up so many times, I think over 30 times this year, costing an average of about 2 times in a month. What kind of economy is this? This is not an economy that can support private businesses or small businesses or little enterprises that are trying to grow. And these are the things we keep telling the MPP, that it's not about creating NABCO. It's about creating a conducive environment as far as economic indicators are concerned for people to be able to create their own businesses. Then you can give them some stimulus packages so that at the end of the day, they can create their own business. But if at the end of the day, you just go and put together 300 or 100,000 youth in the name of NABCO, and at the end of the day, or at the end of the 3 years, you are now trying as much as possible to get rid of them, then they become NABCO dropouts. That is why we are where we are.
The president says that they are going to make sure that some 72,000 or so would get some jobs.
But the letters have been sent out, I think it's more than 72,000.
Hold on, Kamal, you come in.
It's more than 72,000. So at the end of the day, I think they can tell us how many they've employed, how many are going home without jobs, how many are going to be catered for, how many will just remain there. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, the point still remains that NABCO was a good initiative. However, it was used as a vote buying machine for the MPP.
Come on. Well, give us the numbers now.
Bella, some 117,000 and more people have benefited from this great idea of ensuring that the young ones of this country will not sit idle.
117,000. So not the 97,000 anymore?
It's about transitioning. Some of them transition, and like I told you earlier, if you exit, the scheme is said that once one person exits and then there's a vacancy created, of course, they have the capacity to bring on board some other people.
Okay.
So in the course of the transitioning, some people come. You see, NABCO hinges on 3 cardinal points. First of all, my point is that the idea is to train further people who have actually earmarked a particular career for themselves. That's why there are models under NABCO. Now, having had that further training, to you or to the person or to the young person who have had that, who of course has an idea of enhancing his training, of course will be satisfied. Again, there are some of them who, after they have been engaged, okay, as a result of the training that they've gotten, they move on to permanent employment. And
How
as I
many of
speak,
those?
we have close to 50% of this number I've given. That is about 49,000 of them as we speak. NABCO beneficiaries have been able to be absorbed or have been absorbed as a result of this particular program.
Was it the
To
NABCO
permanent
secretariats that provided that
Yes.
permanent jobs? But these young people are saying that
no,
they
it's not
didn't get.
NABCO. NABCO is not fashioned to provide permanent jobs.
Okay.
NABCO is fashioned to bring on board the young people who have nothing to do or who are not working after their tertiary education. Then, having had them on board, NABCO liaises with certain institutions where the models are. Now, if those institutions have vacancies created or happening, then they say, okay, fine. The gentleman who has been absorbed by us from NABCO has this particular capabilities. Therefore, we are, as it were, employing that person.
Okay.
And I'm saying that out of the 117,000 people over that have had the opportunity of benefits from NABCO, some 49,000 plus of them currently are employed fully.
Come on, are you giving this statistics based on the number of people who left the scheme, and so you assume that if they left the scheme, then that means they've got permanent jobs?
On assumption, so.
Because,
listen,
hold on, because some of them are saying that we left the scheme out of frustration. It wasn't because we found another job. But then when it comes to tabulating, we assume that if I left the scheme, then it means that I found a job. And so I'm part of that 49,000. That's why I'm asking you that is why this 49,000, is it based on the exact figure that got a job, or just a number of people who may have also exited the scheme?
Bella, I wanted her to speak to this matter with some level of, if you like, knowledge about it. And that is why I asked earlier on whether you had made frantic effort to contact the secretariat for such details. I am again telling you that the figures I am churning out right now emanate from a very authentic source, i.e. the secretariat itself.
Okay.
And I'm saying that the secretariat has on their data certain some 49,000 plus beneficiaries of NABCO now fully employed. The question is to whether it's NABCO that got the job for them or it's not NABCO that got for the job for them. And I'm saying that the model, when it was actually launched by the president, NABCO, the president said, look, we are creating a vehicle where the young people of this country who have no job will come on that particular vehicle. When they come on that vehicle, receive training, in the course of time, some of them already are prepared for the job market. They could move on when the opportunity is created. And I'm saying along the way, once NABCO was launched, and the people who became beneficiaries, some 170,000 people right now, some 49,000 of them out of that. And I'm speaking to the data that is available. It's not as if I'm just saying, it's not an assumption. 49,000 of them have had jobs currently. In what sector?
Is it the public sector, private sector, entrepreneurship? What exactly?
You see, some people have had this permanent employment in maybe public sector, private sector, whatever. Remember that I said job training, further training. Some of them too have gone into entrepreneurship. It's also unemployment. That some people who have gone into entrepreneurship, that's the area I even want to concentrate much more. And I will always like to admonish the young people of this country that when we come out of our tertiary institutions, our universities, or wherever training we receive, let us try to go extra mile. I know it's difficult to get up capitals, but let's go extra mile to create opportunity for ourselves by ensuring that we become our own bosses. That is a very important one. But I'm saying NABCO has been a good model. And my brother ended by saying that. He said, look, NABCO is a good initiative. I listened to him. He said it was a very good initiative. What did they do? He sits here and then talk about public sector employment, and that they came to me some 4,000, then later they took it to some 500,000. Of course, which is highly ridiculous anyway.
Do you have numbers to?
Oh, my brother.
My sister.
My sister, rather. My Bella.
No, you're saying it's ridiculous, so I'm expecting that you put out some numbers.
Public sector employment in Ghana when Atamus came in 2009 was 4,000 people. That's true.
I didn't say 4,000.
You said 4,000. I listened to you.
Very
good. So now you are speaking. But you said
you heard me. I didn't say 4,000.
The man said 4,000.
No, I didn't say 4,000. Maybe you didn't hear me well. I said 400.
I listened to you. They can replay it. I listened to, maybe you're not listening to yourself. You did mention that it was 4,000. then that you astronomically took it to 500,000. I said, wow. So I credit when you said
I gave you the difference of 100,000. I gave you a difference of 111,000.
I'm happy you have corrected yourself. But let me make
it by 111,000.
Okay.
We are speaking to NABCO today. We're looking at government interventions, pro-poor interventions that have come a long way to help the youth of this country. The YEA that they keep making noise so much about. What is the genesis of YEA? Youth Employment Program. Under MPP1, under President Kufuor, we thought it wise to register all the young people in this country, then come out with a program that would bring them on board. Then Nana Kumia and Co. came out with this youth employment program, which metamorphosed into YEA where we are today. Okay, we brought this lofty idea. The NDC, when you give them power, they have nothing to create. So now NABCO that we are discussing today is again another lofty idea coming from the MPP.
Yeah, and but if people are unemployed, I mean,
if some people say that I have been there and I've not gotten employment, and some 49,000, is it good or bad?
You promised us the youth bank.
You can't get it all.
The finance minister mentioned during the mid-year budget review that they were going to introduce the youth bank. That was supposed to provide some 100,000 entrepreneurs some funding so they can start businesses. Recently, the finance minister says that the government payroll is full, and so the young people should go into entrepreneurship. Let's just say that the 49,000 that are left from NABCO, they all want to go into entrepreneurship. They're asking, where do we get the funding from? You told us that the youth bank will be set up. When is that happening? So that these young people can access funds.
Let's not appear speculative. Let's speak to facts. You asked me whether what the figures I was churning out were facts. Okay, coming from, or figures coming from the secretary. I said yes.
Yeah.
Now you're saying that let's just say that 49,000 of them
are
entrepreneurs.
You are saying that that's about 50%. No. You told me that some 49,000 per the statistics that you got from the secretariat. And you said that could amount to about 50%. And I'm saying that if the next 50%, let's just say, is another 49,000, if they all are interested, how would they get support when you promised us the youth bank?
On the 22nd of November, the budget will be read. And the focus of this budget, we are told, is going to be how to enhance our financial models to be able to help the youth who are, of course, yearning to go into entrepreneurship, become their own bosses. How can they have access to incentives from the banks? How can they have access to support from the banks? I believe that when the budget comes, we shouldn't actually put the cart before the horse. We're waiting and praying that, inshallah, when this budget comes out, there will be some, if you like, measures put in place to see how we're going to get these young people in this country who are interested in entrepreneurship, how are they going to be cushioned, how are they going to be supported, and then we move on. Let's not forget, the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo also put in place NEP, NEIP, and of course, headed by my good friend, it was headed by my good friend John Kuma, now Deputy Finance Minister. NEP, if I should tell you the amount of people, the number of people, the young people who have benefited through NEP, gotten some capital to move on, trust me, you will be amazed.
How many?
It is important. How many? I don't have the figures at hand, but I do know that we have quite a good number of young people who have benefited from NEP, as it were. And what the point I want to make is that what is imperative and important about this is that it's another initiative coming from this government. Now, when you sit here and say we've done nothing, we can give you a series of examples. NEP is there, YEA, I told you the genesis of it, and of course, NABCO is being discussed. Tell me one single intervention that NDC has ever brought that will help cushion the plight of people in this country to create employment. Not even one. He cannot mention one.
The budget reading we're told is on the 17th, by the way. I think you
17th,
mentioned
okay,
20,
I meant 22nd, fine, 17th.
17th.
So this month, I mean, what is important is that the budget will come out by 17th. And the point I'm making is that they cannot give us a single intervention that they have brought to say that this is what NDC did, consciously tailored towards getting the youth of this country being engaged, as it were. No. Only for us to come and sit down. If 2, 3, 4, 5 people call in to say that, look, I am in NABCO, I have not gotten it, that one is news. But the rest of the 49,000 people who have gotten employment, we as journalists, because I was one anyway.
But 2, 3, 4, 5 people
have not,
that could represent, because they are speaking for the other beneficiaries.
Oh no,
they are not.
Why? There are others who will speak for those who have also gotten the jobs.
Okay.
Will there not be?
Well, this young man says that he works in a pharmacy,
Yes.
and in that pharmacy there are only 3 permanent staff, and they brought about 9 of them to come and augment the staff. In fact, they actually do the job. So if today you're asking them to leave, that means that work will not go on because the 3 people cannot even run the place.
Let's correct this erroneous impression.
Because they were relying on them.
The erroneous impression out there is that NABCO has come to stay permanently, and I'm saying ab initio, we had indicated that this is a 36-month, if you like, project.
Okay.
And this 36-month project, of course, will end after what we have designed it to be. Now, somebody sits here to say that, why is NABCO ending? And that is news. We should discuss that one. We are truthful to our cause and we are moving. But the benefits that comes with it, that one, we shouldn't talk about it. I'm really surprised. But to add before my brother comes in, remember that there's even a last cohort that is going to be engaged by NABCO. The cohorts that are moving right now, okay, have had their term ended. But I think there's a last cohort before the 36 months will come in. So NABCO is not ending anyway, just today or tomorrow.
Okay. Well, Vice President of Imani Center for Policy and Education, Mr. Kofi Bento, at the time when NABCO started, I think about a year into NABCO, he criticized the government on the basis of comparisons between NABCO and other government employment bodies. And he said that he couldn't understand why another program had been set and its relevance was especially, especially when the previous agencies like GIDA, YEA, there was less step in a number of them. They could not handle the issue of unemployment. Hold on, Osman, I'll let you come in. But Cookie is going to read a few messages. And when we come back, I would have Osman respond to this.
Okay, so the very first message, Bella, I need all of us to pay attention because it's got some information in there. And it's coming from some tete in Ashaima. Now, it says the NABCO does not know the whereabouts of the trainees that they are saying have gotten jobs. This is because, Bella, on the 15th of June, 9th of July, and 25th of September this year, 3 messages were sent to all of us. 1 message on each date urging us to decline from the system if we have gotten jobs. The question is, if indeed they have a hand in the jobs that people have gotten, they should know whom they have placed at which institution so that they will not have to send all of us those messages in 3 months urging us to decline by ourselves. They could have just taken those people from the scheme if they knew them and they were the ones that helped them to get the jobs. They have no hand in the jobs that some people got. Prince Henry from Kofrodia says, so Kamal Dean is now teaching the management of TV3 Ghana how to do their work, all because of the Nana Baumia company. NABCO has become the biggest political scam.
Now it's Nana Baumia company.
Good morning, TV3. Please ask Kamal Dean to explain to us what happened to the recruitment promises made by his government to this NABCO beneficiaries during the election 2020 campaign. Fatahi from Techiman sent in that one. The MPP government is a scam. We NABCO personnel, we are waiting patiently for the NDC in 2024. What pains us a lot is the communicators defending the undefendable. MPP as a party is a scam. Kimbobo from Mamponting sent in that one. AU Farouk from Tamale North says, seriously, the crisis surrounding the NABCO beneficiaries is unfortunate. Up to today, no NABCO beneficiary knows his or her fate. The program was established simply to score parochial political interest by the MPP Nana government. Bella, it will surprise you to know that NABCO is owing some of us over 1 year stipends. Personally, they are owing me 15 months. I can send you a screenshot of my portal. To protect myself, I don't want to give you my name, and that's fine. Bella, you see how this MPP man is struggling to defend the lies? Now he is telling Ghanaians that we should go contact the secretariat. God is in control. I can more resent in that one. This one says, NABCO has suddenly ended, and that does not mean life has ended. Let us see what the government has for us next. NABCO might even get better, or even a new policy might come to replace it. Regards to Kamal Dean for his fantastic submission. Kamal, this one is coming from Baba Zamu, Master Planner. Is he your personal friend? I've always been thinking about this and I don't get it. What country are we living in? A country that gives everything free to politicians and drive the rest of us on stones. How can people receive huge salaries, enjoying free accommodation and okay, so Let me just jump over that and give you the last one, Bella. The problem we have now is our leaders' inability to admit that the policy has backfired. Our inability to admit we made a mistake with this NABCO thing clearly shows we have leaders who would do anything to gain power. The solution to this unemployment issue is honesty and diligence. There are many people who take double salaries, and some too are over 60, but are still on pay slips of various companies. We must be honest with ourselves. Christopher from Tamale sent in that one. Bella, let me just read the last one. Okay, it's fine. I mean, all in the same vein, so it's
okay.
fine. Yeah.
All right. Osman, let me bring you in here because there's some reports by the Brookings Institution, and that is quite a knowledgeable institution, by the way. And they are saying that interventions such as NABCO, and all these other ones that are supposed to provide entrepreneurship skills and all that, they do not have a good track record in developing countries. And he says that just a small number of young entrepreneurs in sub-Saharan Africa find success, and they are rarely able to subsequently hire fellow young Africans. African labor markets are also not able to absorb the available skilled workers. Moreover, surveys in rural Ghana and Uganda show that young people in these regions often struggle to get the funding they need to start a business or land to farm on, and they don't benefit from government or donor initiatives, particularly concerning 2/3 of new job seekers across Africa living in rural areas. So the question now is, we're being told that young people should go into entrepreneurship. However, clearly we're seeing that this may not necessarily be possible for a country like Ghana because funding is a problem. Young people are asking, where are they going to get the monies from? What do you say to this issue?
Well, Bella, before I even speak to that issue and what the NDC did and what we seek to do or what we put in our manifesto to do, well, Kamaldeen and his sources tells us that they employed about 49,000 people. The president, on the other hand, just last week told us that about 72,000 we have. Well, there's a news reportage.
72,000. The president said we have employed 72,000.
You're expecting to employ 72,000.
Yes.
So right now, how many do you have? 49,000. Now, right now, how many do you have?
In fact, it's 73,844. That's the number.
And in fact, some of these figures coming from NABCO themselves, I mean, are questionable because these are figures the NPP continues to churn. This is not the first time they churn out figures that are questionable. The same vein, they tell us that they have 104 factories and they've employed about 140,000 people through the 104 factories. That's for the one district, one factory. You do the mathematics and they are trying to tell you that averagely on every factory they've employed 1,400 people, which is questionable. I'm yet to see some of those factories that a single factory employs about 1,400 people. That was just by the way. But now come to some of these youth employment projects and programs. You see, the most important thing is to look at funding for most of this youth. Look at what policy can put together sustainable funding, can put together funding with very little interest or no interest at all. And you know that under the NDC, there was a YEA program, the YEA program, where we put together funding for young businesses with no interest. And over 100,000 people were put under that project for the span of 4 years. So at every year, there were a group of people that were put together and funding was given to them to try as much as possible to expand their businesses. Some were into fashion design, some were into barbering salons and all that, to try as much as possible to expand their businesses. Aside from that, we also put together the youth in agriculture, which had over 18,000 youth go into agriculture. And this was a conscious effort by the president at the time, His Excellency John Mahama, to try as much as possible to put so many young people, the youth, into agriculture. So we just don't see agriculture as though a place for old people and into subsistence farming and what have you. These are the plans we put together. So if you do not put these plans together, and if you do not have a conducive environment so far as the economy is concerned, then we are just moving around in circles. We put a group of people together, we give them some sort of stipends, maybe 300, 400 cedis every month. And at the end of the day, our budget is shrinking and we cannot continue to do that for them. But once you are able to put together an economy that is friendly, as it stands now, Kamal knows taxes are killing people. A young business cannot grow even because of taxes. There's COVID tax, there's what tax, taxes on fuel. So how can a young businessman grow? That is the question. That is the kind of environment that we need to create for all these young businesses. Otherwise, how can a business that was just created today, match up with a big company, maybe Kamal and his people are managing? There is no way you can survive. And that is the question we continue to ask. What kind of environment? Is this the environment Nana and Baumia promised us? No, this is not the kind of economic environment they promised us. They promised us, even before they came to power, that they were going to reduce the income tax of companies from about 30% to 20%. Has that been done? No. They promised us young businesses all the good promises they were going to do. That hasn't been done. So if all these were done, we won't be here talking about NABCO, because most of these youth would have been able to take advantage of some of these economic policies, or take advantage of some of these policies to be able to grow businesses for themselves. Today, Kamal is telling us that everybody should try and be a boss of his own. He is privileged to be part of the NPP, and his party is in power. So at least he can say some of the things he's saying, because he can just walk to any office and try to lobby 1 or 2 projects for himself. But that cannot happen to the ordinary. That cannot happen to the ordinary person coming from Boko, who doesn't have a certificate to even start a business. That is the problem we are facing. So he shouldn't look at himself and try to equate it to everyone, because he's not an ordinary citizen of the land.
All right. Kamal, I was just doing some calculation here.
Fine.
So you're telling us that 117,000 people in total benefited from NABCO.
Yeah.
Some 49,000,
Some 49,000 plus.
plus.
Yeah.
Have gotten permanent jobs.
Yeah.
Now, the president said that some 73,844 are expecting, they're expecting that some 73,844 of them out of the 92,000 who took part will be placed by the end of the period.
Yeah.
Now, when you take 49,000 out of the 117,000, that leaves you just about 48,883. How is the president then saying that 73,000 people are expected to be placed in some form of employment under NABCO?
Why now is a crime to set targets?
But you have just said NABCO has ended.
No, you've asked a question. I'm only giving you an answer. It's a crime to set targets. Look, Media General says that by the year 2021, we are going to move our studios to the skies. Then maybe in the course of time, by the year 2021, Media General have been able to move at least to half the skies.
No.
Have they done
He was specific. He said 73,844 NABCO beneficiaries who took part in the career pathway transition process will be placed by the end of the period.
I am saying.
He said this in August. Now, you are telling us that 117,000 people benefited from it. 49,000 have gotten jobs.
Yes.
So how many people are left? That should leave us about how much? 48,883, unless my calculation is wrong. How then are we saying that some 73,000 of them will get jobs? Because you said yourself that you are sure that NABCO Secretariat, has the statistics that indicates that 49,000 of them have found jobs.
Yeah, Bella, I like the energy with which you hinge on negativities. I like that energy. I just love it. But see, again, just as we have energy to hinge on negativities, my advice is that we should have energy.
Negativity?
No, it's not to you. I'm speaking to the matter. We should have also very exceptional energy to hinge on positives as well. And I'm saying, if you set the target of 73,000, or you say that, look, our expectation is that by the end of the program, at least some 73,000 youth could have gotten or would have gotten some permanent jobs. Then along the way, we have not even ended. Like I told you, the last cohort is yet to even be enrolled, absorbed by NABCO. It's yet to end. Some people have the perception that NABCO is just ending tomorrow or tomorrow next. They still have a room or a window that is going to absorb some people. And now we have done so far 49,000. We've not even ended.
That would leave us like 68,000 actually.
Absolutely.
But that's 73,000.
Once the president mentioned 73,000 and we've made some 49,000 plus, almost 50,000, then it's a failure. I'm
not saying it's a failure. I'm just asking about the numbers.
Yes, and I've just spoken to the numbers, and I'm saying that we haven't even ended. We are on course and we are doing it. Why? We are better than people who could not. When I just challenged my brother here to mention a single intervention, he went and mentioned YE.
Okay.
The same YE that the MPP even actually brought out. As our baby. You forgotten YE is our baby.
Okay. All right.
Please come out. Please.
All right. We'll end it here. Unfortunately, our time is up. Our time is up. Time is up. If we left 68,000, by the way, regardless, even the 68,000, the president says 73,000 of those. The question is then, how do we have 73,000? But time is up. We have to go, gentlemen. Thank you so much for speaking to us this morning. Kamal Dean is the Deputy Communications Director for the NPP, and Osman Ayariga is a communications member of the NDC. By the way, just a reminder that if you buy Camel antiseptic liquid and support the Camel Because We Care initiative, your 10 pesos will be donated to children who are suffering from cancer, and so it will be used for diagnosis and treatment. And so please remember to buy Camel antiseptic liquid so that we can support these children. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for speaking to us. And big thanks to Sheila Bonsu for styling me every Friday on the show. You can find on social media, Sheila Bonsu _RTW. We'll be back with some more. This is TV3 New Day.